Hello and welcome to a brand new show here on ProView Sports. This is the ProView Sports Report. I'm Aaron Rivera today with Steve Davis. And Steve, lots of exciting games going on in the state of New Mexico. This is the fun time of the year. We just finished state football. We're into basketball season. I mean, nothing but fun going down.
Well, you said it's basketball, and I said let the games begin, and it started with a bang, and I think there's excitement. I know football coming off a great football year, state championships, and also soccer and volleyball. Now it just seems basketball right here, and it's a lot of tournaments coming up, a lot of great things going on, and ProView is going to be right there covering most of them.
Yeah, exactly. So this show, our purpose is we're going to talk about all the great sports, all the great events that we're covering here at ProView Sports. And so, Steve, let's dive right into it. So first, we're going to talk about this last weekend. We had crews at all of the state championship football locations, and we're going to go ahead and start off with the 2A state championships. That's Texaco versus Santa Rosa, and I mean, this was a game dominated by Texaco. This is Alex Fuentes, the senior running back. He had 4 touchdowns on the ground in that game. There was the very first one of it. He's celebrating right there with his quarterback, Waylon. And speaking of the quarterback, Bennett Waylon, here comes Waylon around the edge there, dodges through and falls over the line. Waylon would actually catch a touchdown pass. We're going to see a little bit of that. But, yeah, we had a crew down there in Santa Rosa across the state, and we just see Fuentes. Here's him coming around the edge looking for another touchdown, and you can just see the Santa Rosa guys just couldn't take him down. This Texaco squad, Steve, this is back-to-back years for them, 8th, and I mean, that's huge for a young town or for a community like Texaco.
Well, no, Texaco's where I'm on the east side of the state from Clovis, and to see what what they've done for student athletes and the facilities and what they do they're always seeming like they're a contender in all sports.
Yeah, I mean, you see them in volleyball, you see them in basketball. Here is one of those cool plays. There's Fuentes, the running back. He's going to let that one up to the quarterback, Waylon. 37-yard touchdown, and this is the 8th championship. Let's hear what Coach Bob Gilbreth has to say about the performance of this team and about how the squad has performed.
Coach, 8th state championship in program history. Texaco goes back-to-back as state champions for the first time since 2003-2004. What does this mean for the community of Texaco?
Oh, we have a lot of pride in the community, and when I first got to Texaco 6 years ago, the football program was down and kind of in the dumps, and we've just rebuilt it, and it's a football community, and we've just slowly but surely built it back, and we don't want to just get there. We want to dominate.
Yes, sir.
My kind of phrase at the beginning is I want to build an empire. I want to win it all and everything. So that's just kind of our goal, and that's where we want to go.
Sounds good. Well, congratulations, Coach.
All right, and so as you see there, 50-0 victory for the Texaco Wolverines. 2nd state championship for them, Steve. Coach Gilbreth has been there for 6 years now, and I mean, 2nd in a row, but that is, I think, a powerhouse for the 2A. They've got to keep an eye down there. We've always been looking at Eunice, Jal, Santa Rosa, but I think Texaco right now just so dominant.
No, you're right. I mean, it's just amazing what we see on the east side of the state.
Yeah, and so, all right, now we'll take a look at the 3A state champions. Familiar faces in there as the St. Michael's Horsemen. They've been so dominant, speaking of, and as this one goes, we're going to see one of the stars of this one. It's a trick play that goes to Soren Anon. He's there on the bottom. There was nobody around him. He would have a couple of big returns throughout the game, and St. Michael's, for them, first they get that way, but Dexter, they fought their way back into this one. I mean, stuck on their own goal line. The sophomore quarterback, C.J. Granados, finds Kaysen George down the field. Big catch over the defender. Kaysen George able to snag down that ball, and that would set up the Granados touchdown to get this game a Dexter lead. And then here comes the ensuing kickoff. You think, oh, it's just a kickoff, right? Well, they get it over to the junior Isaiah Dominguez. 87 yards. Dominguez scampers down the field. St. Michael's would immediately get a lead right after giving one up. And from that point on, St. Michael's was kind of leading. They were really in a good dominant spot. Here comes Soren Anand again on that jet sweep, and he's fast. That kid is really hard to take down, and then gets another score for St. Michael's, puts him up, and then right here, Granados scrambling through. He gets the big pass down the field, and it looked like Dexter was going to be able to kind of fight their way back. We're right here at the end zone. Granados to the right, intercepted. Right as they thought they could scratch their way back in. But speaking of, we'll see Reed Bass get a pass before Granados will have his opportunity to strike back. St. Michael's didn't score right there, so Granados lets loose, finds Isaac Ramirez for 67 yards, and now Dexter, as we're late in this one, you see fourth quarter there, Dexter set up a fumble, and yet they're still able to bring it in, and now this game is tight. Dexter down by just 2. Granados gets ready to go, sets up the screen pass, and it's intercepted. So that was St. Mike's on the screen pass. Dexter takes a lead. And so this one's in the books, right? Well, St. Michael's, they go to Cole Sandoval, and the kid gets that winning touchdown. St. Michael's, the state champions again. And 28-62, or 26 right there. And, I mean, that's another team. We see these same squads, Steve, kind of year in, year out. And teams like St. Michael's back in the state championship, it's been them and Robertson for like the last 4 years.
Well, and you look, that might be the closest game and most exciting game of the whole week on that whole Saturday.
Yeah, and I mean, that's what we saw a lot of during the week was, I mean, the dominant teams being the bigger ones in state football, right? There were a couple of upsets, and we're going to start getting to them. First, let's take a look at the 4A, as we're talking about teams that were super dominant here, Bloomfield and St. Pius. In a game, Steve, that, I mean, it looked, when you get to the halftime of this game, it's knotted up. They're tied 22-22.
And I was following this game, the whole deal. I mean, it looked like it's going to be a really close game for the whole game.
As Holloway gets that first touchdown, and, you know, immediately Bloomfield comes back. Blake Spencer says, all right, you got a touchdown. How about this touchdown? Blake Spencer was huge for them all throughout that game as he was able to fix a broken play. But then Curtis Flakes III, Coach Flakes taking over for St. Pius, getting them into the state championship. How big is that for them? As his son right there scampering in for the touchdown. That was a 74-yard touchdown, but I mean, it was just back and forth that whole game. There was no idea who was going to win.
And look at the weather. All the places we have is great weather and great, you know, I mean, these games are just, I'm looking at this film. It's just great to watch, entertaining.
Yeah, up north in Bloomfield is where they're hosting this. The second time in 3 years Bloomfield's hosting the championship. But then we get to the halfway point of this game, and Bloomfield just ran away with it. A couple of injuries on the St. Pius side, took out some of their big guys, and then we see this 84-yard touchdown by Duncan. We would see Hunter Samora on the next scoring play for Bloomfield. It looks like St. Pius has their backup quarterback in, kind of scrambles around, doesn't know what to do, and it's going to turn into a pick six. And then there would also be a block punt by McNell Colbert that we're going to see. I mean, Bloomfield ran away with it. For Pius, unfortunate with the injuries and everything, kind of let it roll at the end, but good future there.
Well, what Flakes has done at Pius, I mean, you know, he started 2 years ago, came in, he's rebuilt, you know, the tradition that's always been at Pius, and look at the hosting that Blue Trophy. How great is that?
Yeah, and let's hear from Coach Mike Kovacs.
Years along with Bloomfield head coach Mike Kovacs. Bloomfield 62, St. Pius 28. Bobcats champions again, second time in 3 years. Coach, they gave you everything you wanted. Tied at the half. Yes. The Bobcats, tell me what adjustments you made, because they came out with their passing game and it worked well. After you started putting pressure on Isaiah Carpenter, not so well. Tell me about it.
You know what? They went in at halftime, and Coach Lynch and Coach Perez is our DB coach. they sit there and they talk to the DBs and they told them to relax. We played tight in that first half, and I thought we didn't execute as well as we should have. We made some better matchups. I think we had some players that were at a disadvantage. We moved around in the second half. You saw what happened on defense. Offensively, I'm going to tell you right now, with Blake Spencer at the helm, anything goes. When you break, what was that, a 70-something yard run right up the middle to start the second half for our offense, it was just all downhill for them after that. But you know what? Coach Flake and his staff, my hat goes off to each and every one of them and all those kids. That 62 points right there is just epitome of our season.
Blue and yellow community came out for you. You said it would. Coach Kovacs, second championship in 3 years. Congratulations.
Thank you so much, Ed. Thank you, not only San Juan County, but the state of New Mexico. We love each and everybody, and hopefully we'll see you again.
You bet, Coach. Take care.
All right. So the Bloomfield Bobcats win that one 62-28. We've got 2 more state championship football games to talk about. We're going to take a quick break right now, though. You're watching the ProView Sports Report.
That's done well.
First down from the 38-yard line. And now Palomino's just going to hold on to this one. Palomino's got green grass in front of him. And the opening touchdown belongs to the Coyotes. Run it right here. He says, hey, you can run, I can run too. He's still on his feet. And I think he's got it.
And that's our second three.
They're back with one of their own. Absolutely, David. It's been a pleasure. Fuentes going to look to throw. He's looking long to Whalen, and it's complete for a touchdown from 37 yards out. Hold on to it, though. Palomino falls in. Jefferson pokes it away. He's one-on-one with Garcia. To the cup on the left side. From behind, ball slips out. And I think that's Artesia ball. Oscillion already has it is indeed. Punches in the opening. And this on the jet sweep. Some space over there for Ethan Cohn. Cohn dodges through, and he's short by maybe a yard.
Hatch going down the sideline.
No space, so he makes his own. Isaac Cazares scampers in.
Untouched.
Hold on to this one. Palomino's got green grass in front of him, and the opening touchdown belongs to the Coyotes.
Another turnover. Here comes Gonzalez. And here comes Oscillion in transition. And he punches it home. A chance at a 3-point play.
Trick play, and he's wide open. Oh my gosh, number 13 is wide open. Oh, and it looks like he'll go in for the score. Man, and just like that.
Run it right here and says, hey, you can run, I can run too. He's still on his feet. And I think he's got it. Bulldogs answer back with one of their own.
Duncan's got the move around the left side. Still on his feet. He's got a block downfield. Midfield, 45-40. Duncan could be gone. One man to beat. Holloway nearly caught him, but it's a touchdown.
All right, welcome back here on the ProView Sports Report. Aaron Rivera with Steve Davis today. And I mean, some great plays in that top 10 there, Steve. We're seeing a lot of these plays, but a great weekend of football. Let's finish it up. We'll look at the 5A state championship. Roswell and Artesia, that's where I was down at in the Wool Bowl of Roswell.
Well, how about a football environment right there, huh?
Yeah, right? I mean, back-to-back years, too, as we see. This is Jacob Palomino running it, but, I mean, the stands were packed down at the Wool Bowl. Of course, Artesia travels well, and when you're right next
well, it's
door.
still 20, 30 miles or so.
Yeah, I was gonna say. Well, I remember last year going to Artesia, as this is the quarterback, Isaac Cazares. Unfortunately, he wouldn't finish the game, but he was electric for Artesia throughout. But, I mean, there was a convoy from Roswell to Artesia last year, and I'm sure there was a convoy this year. And speaking of convoys, we see right there Abby Toscano. He was really setting them up. And Jacob Palomino, the senior quarterback, this game meant a lot to him. He got 3 rushing touchdowns and 1 passing touchdown for Roswell as they just kept adding on. This is the one mistake he had all day was that fumble right there sets up Artesia as Roswell was going for the kill. Artesia was having trouble stopping them early on. That was their first stop of the game, and it would set up this long jet sweep for Ethan Cone. Cone gets all the way to the 1-yard line before we see Isaac Cazares, the senior quarterback. A lot of trust in him. That's what they had, and Cazares was dealing. I mean, their problem was they didn't convert those 2 touchdowns, and now you see what Roswell has. Here comes Carrasco, Zai Carrasco. The safety was getting the ball on the hand on the ball, and then Palomino finds Mason Greathouse. I mean, beautiful snag right there. Unbelievable catch. And from that point on, it was all Roswell. So Cazares, we didn't see him for the rest of the game following this point. Artesia would get this field goal to set things up, but Roswell just started running it. And I mean, after everything that's happened, Steve, with the floods that went down, they lost a student in an incident a couple of years ago. I mean, this win is huge for Roswell.
Well, big for the community. I mean, very big, and you can tell by the enthusiasm. We're seeing a little bit of the fans, but how packed the stadium is.
Oh yeah, I mean that far side, all the Roswell fans. I mean, trying to get through the crowd just to find the coach at the end of the game. Everybody was excited, and stuff like that. You see that giant touchdown. The defense of Roswell put Artesia to 5 turnovers on down in the second half, so Artesia just couldn't get the offense rolling there as it went along. And, I mean, it was just a tough day of sledding for the Artesia Bulldogs, one of the most successful programs of all time. This was a sweet play as he hit. That was the backup quarterback, Warren, and he just slipped that ball out, got the touchdown over to the running back, but that was pretty much the only success they had in the second half. It'd be these turnover on downs that we're seeing a bunch of after this for the Roswell Coyotes. And Coach Lynn bringing it back a couple of years ago. I mean, we've seen these 2 coaches, Steve, in the state championship over and over and over again. Jeremy Maupin with Los Lunas, and then now with Artesia.
Yeah, no, that's we put a lot of the game plan in, and Jacobs. I mean, he not only did a good job running the football, but he did a good job keeping us in good plays. We gave him pretty much 2 plays every snap, and he was going up there and checking the play we wanted. So he did a great job, not only athletically and running for a lot of yards and scoring touchdowns, but mentally he did a great job as well.
I might say something about that.
Yeah, and again, it was massive for them. They did lose a player a couple of years ago, the young man named Luna, and it was
neat. The coach was wearing his shirt. I mean,
yeah.
Number 25. I mean, that just shows you the community and
oh yeah, and
once you're a Coyote, you're always a Coyote. Something.
Yeah, and Palomino mentioned him too afterwards. I mean, that was big for them, and to be able to get that win is huge. So we've got one more football game before we roll into the other sport, basketball. This is the 6A championship. The La Cueva Bears, the Cleveland Storm. Nobody thought that La Cueva could be stopped, and yet right here it looked like Hatch knew that you could stop them.
Well, Cleveland's been waiting for this game. You can say whatever you want. This is a natural rivalry between the Metros, from Metro in the city of Albuquerque and Rio Rancho.
Yeah, and you see that Cleveland get the ball back on the kick, already up 7, and then the ball gets handed to Munoz, and Munoz just rumbles up to there, sets up the touchdown for himself as he'll run that one in, pretty much unscathed. And La Cueva just didn't quite look like La Cueva in this game.
Well, give Cleveland their dues, okay? I mean, they waited a year for this game, and they like winning blue trophies. So does La Cueva, and they just seemed it was their day. Just put it it's real simple. It was their day.
Yeah, Coach Garza and his crew. They did such a great job setting up plays like that. The flea flicker to Jacob Maldonado. Finally, Cam Dyer. The touchdown supplier, right? He's going to get his big plays as we see Dyer, pushing his way up there before setting up this throw out to the corner, and Cam Dyer gets La Cueva on the board, but that's the only touchdown that they're able to get. Cleveland able to ice that one out, and Coach Garza gets the bath at the end, and the blue trophy goes back to Rio Rancho, and Sebastian had a chance to talk to Coach Garza.
Secondary stepped up. That was a big point of emphasis is, we're going to have to take away the quick short stuff that Cam's good at throwing.
Joseph, we're shooting.
Those guys really stepped up, and our front seven made it hard on them.
Yeah, talk about that. I mean, once those options became so limited, it seems like that's when the front started to pin their ears back and started going after Cam a little bit. Oh, yeah. Talk about that.
Yeah, we knew they were going to have to throw the football, so Kegler, go make it happen. Go make something happen, man. Riley, Eli, Elijah, those guys, man, they got after it. Made life hard on them.
And lastly, Jordan Hatch doing what he does. He's pretty much done it all season long, but he does it so quietly. For him to have such an effective night on championship day. Talk about your junior quarterback.
Jordan doesn't get enough credit, man. A heck of a season. Going into this game, he thrown 26 touchdowns, only 2 interceptions. I don't think he gets enough recognition. And Jordan came out tonight, showed everybody what he's capable of doing. I'm glad he's got one more year coming back.
Appreciate it. Go celebrate with your team.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, so the Cleveland Storm win that one 26-8. I mean, just a great season of football there, Steve, capping off all the fall sports. And then now it's your favorite time of the year. You're an All-American in basketball. This is the time of year you love. How about the start of this basketball season so far?
Well, first of all, the crowds. I mean, I've been to 3 games, and the crowds, all the game. Girls, I mean, Hobbs started out with Sandia, then the gym was packed. Went to La Cueva and Volcano. The enthusiasm for basketball is as good as I've seen at the beginning of the year.
Oh yeah, and this is a
and
big
then in Sandia, and then Lobos were playing last night, and Sandia was filled. I mean, it's just basketball fever.
Basketball fever. Well, let's take a look at a couple of those games. We'll look at one real quick before we take a break. Is this one, Albuquerque High School taking on the La Cueva Bears. This is on the girls' side, and Albuquerque High School might be a team to watch out for this year. They were keeping up. They were up top on La Cueva for pretty much the majority of this game. And, I mean, they were just fighting their way through. Of course, we see the Ashley sisters there. They've got that basketball background, so you expect them to be good.
Well, they have sports background, I mean, they're kin to, Ron Garcia, they coached at Albuquerque High in Rio Grande, and you got Ashley, the father, that's Adam State's great athlete.
Yeah, and you see right there, they were leading them all the way. As we push into the second half, Albuquerque High seemed to have this one, but all of a sudden, as things were starting to finish out there, you see they lead La Cueva by 4 as we go to the halfway point. Close play on that basketball pass, or the baseball pass, but then La Cueva started getting hot. As things started to go around, there's the freshman. She was strong for them last year, and Coach Kogan's team, last year, were really strong. And this year, even though they lose Eva Love, you see this woman right there, that is Jordan Dyer. She's going to be a force.
Well, she was a force last year. I mean, she came on, and I just remember doing the El Dorado game, and she just took over the game.
Yeah, and so you see, this one gets tight. La Cueva takes the lead, and then they never look back. But Albuquerque High, they're a team to be watching for. They beat the Volcano Vista Hawks 50-48. Earlier this week as well. That was last week on the Thursday, but strong start already for the girls' side. We're going to go ahead and take one more quick break. We'll be back in just a moment on the ProView Sports Report.
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot. It's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of ProView Networks.
You followed him from the first day he signed with the team. You remember the day he poured in 63 points? The night he played a sold-out concert to 30,000 people. the day he gave his infamous speech. That's why you believe in heroes. That's why you remember and collect their memorabilia. All in Autographs, where you can meet some of the greats, collect some of the greats, and share your own legacy. Visit All In Autographs, where you can celebrate the great and have your own piece of history.
Here, the ProView Sports Report. And Steve, you mentioned going to 3 games. Let's take a look at one of them right now, which is the Volcano Vista Hawks and the La Cueva Bears. All right. La Cueva, Volcano 2. I mean, of course, Volcano Vista is the defending state champion, Steve, and they played like it all throughout that game.
Well, they're the team to beat. They're the team to watch, and I think without barring any injuries or barring any health issues or grade problems or restrictions in personnel, this team is the team that plays unbelievable. I mean, they didn't even have a great first half, and you just look at La Cueva really struggled to score.
Yeah, you see 23-9 there, and I mean so many different guys. That was the Cillian right there on the score. Here's Kenyon Aguino just whipping that one around. They have so many weapons on this Volcano Vista side. It's hard to know who is going to be the man to watch out for if you're the opposing coach, because everybody can do it.
Well, and if they're all cylinders, if everybody's hitting and doing things, this team, there's just so many. There's Gonzalez hitting a 3, and he's a sniper. And then here's the guy that had 19 points for the game. At one point, he had more points than La Cueva did.
Yeah, that's David Lund. I mean, and he was a star. It seems like Coach Brown just has a tree where he grows new bigs on every single year.
And this young man right here, he's going to be, they just have so many weapons, and there's got a little technical, got a little cute with it, but something Coach Brown said he's got to work on.
Yeah, Kenyon Aguino, always a star, and then there's that big 3. Let's hear from David Lund.
Player of the game is David Lund, 21 points. You got to go in pretty early. Talk about your offensive flow there early.
Just getting into it, just having a team effort and just starting to flow with the game. Just no matter who scores, just flowing with what happens.
Again, a lot of turnovers in defense leading to offense, right? That's kind of what you guys do. Talk about that.
Just picking up the ball full court, just trying to guard them full court, and just trying to cause turnovers just with havoc. So, yeah.
2 games, 2 flat tires. Is there something wrong with these shoes, man?
I don't know. I don't know what happened.
All right, go celebrate.
All right, so the Volcano Vista Hawks win that one 69-48. And, for La Cueva, this is a squad. Not all of them have been together for a long time. And that's kind of a hard thing to do at the beginning of the season, to play against the defending state champs who have all pretty much been there.
Well, they lost a lot. Dyers, he went ahead and with football, he's not going to play. So there's an impact player that's, that puts, like I said, this is a young team. But Bratless, the point guard, he's young, he's sophomore. They're very young. But so it's a team that will get better by the end of the year. Coach Oriel will do a good job getting that done.
Yeah, we'll see what they can do. And speaking of other teams that have just starting out, a new group, let's take a look at Albuquerque Academy versus Espanola Valley. So the Sun Devils got this one started off early as Matthew Lovato, but Academy was able to fight their first home game for Alvin Broussard, a guy you know very well, and a young squad. Albuquerque Academy has been so dominant in the last few years, but all of those boys have graduated out, and now it's a new look.
Well, and a new system. Okay, so you got a new look, new system, but Coach Broussard's been there before, and good things are going to happen.
You see Olsen right here cleaning up his own rebound, but it was just hard. This is what we saw a lot of in the game, these steals transition into a basket, and then this same play, we're not cutting away. Albuquerque Academy trying to get up through that threw that trip, and immediately Espanola Valley stole it back. I mean, that's the story of this game.
And then look at the crowd, the fan. I mean, this is another, it's this 3A, 4A, 4A. This is just great to see the support that these student athletes are getting.
Yeah, and I mean, another great point for them. You see there's some cheerleaders over there for Albuquerque Academy. This was the first game for the cheerleaders at Albuquerque Academy in something like 20 years. They had a whole halftime ceremony. But Academy fought through. It was just a little too difficult for them. There was a great play by the crossover soccer star, Ben Morgan. But these type of plays for Espanola Valley, they were just too strong through. Here's Joey Trujillo.
I like where we're at. I like the teamwork on offense. I like the intensity on defense. And when we share the ball and play defense like that, good things will happen.
All right. So, Ty, how much time do we got left? 31 seconds. All right. Well, Steve, this has been a fun one looking at some of those. We've got tons of games coming your way throughout the week. We've got games all weekend long. You're heading up to Highlands. Excited for that?
I'm excited. Highlands is 6-1, start the RMAC conference today, and if they can win, they could be. This is a team that could represent the state very well in the RMAC.
Well, so we've got Highlands, we've got Western, we've got all sorts of different sport or games coming your way. Visit us at ProViewNetworks.com. You can find our full schedule right there. I want to thank you so much for coming on, Steve, today, and thank you folks for watching the ProView Sports Report. So.